in my view, in short, there's a lack of urgency at governmental level to tackle this in a cross-departmental way. There should be a senior cabinet subcommittee on climate change, and that should meet regularly, apart from any other committee, given the emergency that we are facing, both in terms of tackling climate change and protecting and enhancing our biodiversity. Both are, of course, obviously connected.
Leo Varadkar said in his speech at the Fine Gael thinking that the Green Party had a lot of good initiatives, and that I suppose they shouldn't be ashamed of appropriating them into their own policy book. Do you think that, as you said, the government perhaps are trying to catch on to a trend too late in the day, and that's what we're seeing happening at the moment?
To a certain extent, they see it through the prism of political and electoral politics. They see the trends, and therefore they're trying to get on the bus. I think this has to be a far more sustained effort that has to go beyond electoral cycles. I was struck, for example, last week in Wexford at the John F. Kennedy Summer School. We held a lunch in the Arboretum and I spoke there. And that shows kind of the division of leaders in the past. People didn't realise, perhaps, the OPW spokesperson said that Eamon de Valera, for example, wanted to create a national arboretum in the 40s. Couldn't get land in Wicklow. That fell through. The visit of John F. Kennedy rekindled the idea and gave an opportunity to create an arboretum in New Ross, up to 500 acres. I think it's 150,000 trees. It's just incredible. Now that was long before we thought about climate change, and that's the way we have to go about this. We have to think of a 50-year horizon and longer in terms of what we do, and that means on all fronts we have to change human behaviour, and all of us have to change our behaviour. Government has to lead, and we have to resource climate change policies. So what I'm somewhat concerned about is the lack of practical initiatives following the publication of the various strategies. I think the Oireachtas Committee strategy was a good one. I think the government's one missed, and there's a missing chapter on biodiversity, for example. So what do I mean by resourcing? I think non-governmental organisations, I'll be asking in this budget that a special fund would be created for non-governmental organisations like Birdwatch Ireland, like the Irish Wildlife Trust and others, who are doing fantastic work to both identify and assess the situation and provide recommendations and remedies. And then that wouldn't take a huge amount of money. We think the National Park and Wildlife Service needs to be significantly enhanced in terms of funding, so we'll be looking for anything up to 10 million extra for the National Park and Wildlife Service in this budget, so to demonstrate to people that we are serious